Hey guys! So you can probably hear it in my voice already, but I do have a really bad cold, so I'm going to try and get through this video without like sneezing or somehow spreading my germs to all of you guys, and without my voice dying. So I've got like a green tea to try and kind of like help, I don't know, steam it out of my lungs. Today I'm filming my top 10 Disney movies for you guys. So as you can see with my awful handwriting, I had a massive list to choose from. These are whittled down, like I was like, okay, I'm only going to pick my favourites to put on the short list. So I've already like been through everything and had to cut things out, and then off of this I had to cut out like another 15, and I was just like, maybe I should make a top 25 Disney movies, but that would be way too long and you guys would all be bored. So sorry about the sniffling. So yeah, without like further ado, I'm going to talk about, they're not in any particular order, so these are all like quite close in how much I like them, because they had to beat the others. So first up is, if you didn't guess it from my little Simpsons in my September favourites, if you've watched it, you might not have, it is The Nightmare Before Christmas. So this is one of Tim Burton's movies, and if you've seen The Corpse Bride, and there's another one, they made a film about the dog and I can't remember what it's called, Frankenweenie. So they kind of like all go together in subtle ways. They're not like a trilogy or anything, but if you look out for bits and pieces, you will see ways in which that they kind of work together. So the basic premise is that Jack, which is this little guy, is the Pumpkin King. He's like the king of Halloween Town, and he goes into the forest and finds another 3 trees, I think. One's got a turkey on for Thanksgiving, one's got an Easter egg on for Easter Town, and one's got a Christmas tree on for Christmas Town. So he goes into Christmas Town and sees that everybody's happy there and they're having like the best time, and he wants to bring that back to Halloween Town, and it all goes disastrously wrong. There's a lot of singing. He's got a little ghost dog called Zero, and a, what is it called? Kind of like a Frankenstein's monster lady called Sally, who's made up of all different parts, who really loves him and kind of follows him around in a bit of a creepy way. But basically, it's kind of a Halloween stroke Christmas film. So I've already watched it this year because I was like, right, it's Halloween, it's a Halloween film, I'm gonna whack it out at Christmas again, but for October it's fine. So yeah, that's it. Kind of like, I don't know, it just makes you feel all festive and ready for Halloween. It's the only Halloween film that I actually own or watch. I'm not big into Halloween and I'm not big into scary things, so that's why. Next up is one that's completely different, and it's an animated one again. I think all of them are. So I'm just like getting my brain to work with this cold. Yeah. All of them are animated. So the second one is Up, which is the most heartbreaking film in the world, I think. I've seen that there are actually Up Christmas decorations out already with the little house with the balloons, and I think I will cry if I can't get one for my Christmas tree because I need it. It's a film that my sister refuses to watch anymore because it just makes her too sad. And it's something that kind of would probably go over children's heads about how upsetting it is. But if you're an adult watching it, it is literally something that makes you want to cry every time. So basically, oh no, I can't remember the name of the old man in it, that's really bad. Carl. So you can see like the cogs whirring. Carl is the main character, and him and his wife were friends since childhood. And at the beginning we go through a little montage where they like grow up and they get married, and then there's a part where she basically goes to the doctors, and you can tell it's a gynecologist because they've got like a picture of a womb with a baby in it on the background, and it's kind of obvious, like it's very subtly done, there's nothing said about it, but it's obvious that she can't have children, and they're both very upset, and that's quite a moving part of it. And then basically they kind of she has an adventure book, and she's always wanted to go on this big adventure to a place that she's drawn as a child, and it's the adventure book that her and Carl had when they were little, and they used to like go on like imagination adventures, but she wants to go there one day in real life. And then eventually she passes away, and that's like, Carl, why? And basically where Carl is, they're trying to uproot his house, like the city council or whatever are trying to uproot his house and replace it with an apartment block, and he's refusing. And then one day they basically say they're just going to bulldoze it, and a little kid comes round he wants to get his scout badges and he wants to help him, and Carl's like, F you, get out of my face, I'm a grumpy old man. But eventually he takes him in, and I'm not sure if the kid has a dog or if Carl has a dog, but there's a dog that can talk when he gets this weird collar put on him. It's very odd. And they attach a load of balloons to the house and they fly away and they go on an adventure, and it's really, really, really cute. Like, I don't think there's any Disney film that has like a similar story where it's an old man, like it's not really the love story is kind of like the first 5 minutes, and then let's actually get into shot. I'm just like, why Up, you're so sad. But that is Up, and if you haven't seen it, definitely go see it, especially if like you want sometimes like I just want a sad film to watch. I just want to cry and wallow in my own pity, and that does that for me. So next up is The Princess and the Frog, which has the most amazing soundtrack, and it's the only Disney film that has a black princess. Yeah, it definitely is. And so like it's quite interesting. Like obviously the first few Disney princesses were always like white and blonde. Like you have Cinderella, you have Sleeping Beauty, you have Snow White, who's not blonde but she's like a stereotypical English beauty, or American beauty, whatever. And yeah, this definitely deviates from it. She falls in love with a prince, but only after he's been transformed into a frog. He's called Prince Nazir, I think, and he doesn't. She never sees him in his human form before he becomes a frog, and she basically is this really poor girl who all she wants to do is open up a gumbo restaurant that her dad wanted to do before he passed away, and that part's a little bit heartbreaking too. It has I've never found a Bug's Life. I'm not about that. Or like Ants was quite good, but I don't think that's a Disney one. But I'm not a bug lover. I'm not a bug in film lover. I know there's a little cricket in Mulan. I still don't really like that. But Ray in The Princess and the Frog, I'm not going to spoiler it, but if you've seen it, Ray and Evangeline, his little star, I just can't handle that. I just can't handle it towards the end. It's like, oh, he's just this little firefly and he's the cutest little thing, and then something bad happens and I just can't even handle it. So if you haven't seen it, just watch out, okay? Just prepare. You think it's all fine and dandy and there's just going to be an evil little villain, and then bad things happen, like really bad things. So anyway, moving on to one that's a little more friendly to your emotions. So the last two were kind of ones that I have definitely cried at, and that is Tangled. So this is another one that's like a fairly recent release. I have another little sum from it. This is Pascal. He's the lizard that lives on Rapunzel. How did I not remember her name? Like, that's the whole premise of the film. Rapunzel's shoulder. Basically, Rapunzel has magic hair that can make people young again or heal them. So an evil witch steals her when she's a baby and locks her up in a tower and never lets her go, so that the witch can basically like use her hair to become young again. So the witch is literally like hundreds of years old. And then a dashing young prince, Flynn Rider, comes into the tower because he's wanted and he's running away, and takes Rapunzel out of the tower, and they have loads of really cute adventures and fall in love. And it's basically like a stereotypical Disney princess movie, and I love it. And it's probably my favourite, like, it's the only one that's like, okay, that's not true. It's one of two that are like stereotypical princess movies on my list. So the next one is in my top 3 of all time, and I really feel upset that it does not get as much credit as it should do. And I've got another Simpson from it, so guess what it is? It is Big Hero 6. So this is a little Baymax Simpson. Big Hero 6 is kind of like, I think it's the first Disney mashup with Marvel, and it was amazing. I don't know whether people didn't like the fact that it wasn't princessy or what, but I'm disappointed that it does not get as much love as it should do. So basically, Hero is this young boy who's kind of like living in Japan, I believe, who he is basically a genius. He kind of has like a little robot that he brings to robot fights that are illegal, whoops, and wins money from them. And his older brother doesn't want him to go down the wrong route, so Kyoshi, his older brother, takes him to the university that he goes to show him that like academic robotics can be cool, and introduces him to all his friends. So Hero is trying to get an early scholarship at the age of like 13 or 14, it's a bit mental, to go to the uni with his brother. And he basically makes these little tiny robots that are like this big, and when they join together they can make anything. So it can make a chair for you to sit on, like it can make a helmet for you to like smack against a wall, it could make the wall that you want to smack the helmet against, and you control them all. You wear something on your head and you control it all with your mind. And then a fire, on the night that he's showing it at the uni, a fire breaks out and his brother goes in to rescue a professor, and his brother is trapped, and it is literally heartbreaking. But the thing that his brother was working on is this big puffy thing called Baymax. That is like, he's like, I'm Baymax, your healthcare advisor. And he basically, as soon as there's something wrong with you, he senses it and he comes out, and he's like, and he learns new things with Hero, and Hero like updates his microchip and everything. And eventually they find out that there's like a nasty guy, and Hero, Baymax, and all of Kyoshi's, or Tyoshi, I can't remember, all of his friends help Baymax and Hero, and they become Big Hero 6. And it's literally like, Baymax is so cute. I just want a Baymax in my life, and he does this little like fist bump, and he's like la 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 la, and oh, it even makes me like, I just want him. I just want one. I want a little healthcare advisor. And that one's a little bit heartbreaking too. Like, Disney just breaks me. I'm not gonna lie, just absolutely broken. So number 6. Okay, we're over halfway through. This is such a long video because I'm expressing my love and I'm over explaining all of them. But I just want you to know what it's like if you haven't seen it. So the next one, I've got a Simpson for this one too, of course. It is Alice in Wonderland. I'm talking old school Alice, the original like animated one. This was one of my absolute favourites as a child. I had to strike quite a few of other childhood favourites off of the list, and that also almost broke me. But this was one that if I was off sick from school, I just would watch over and over and over again. I loved it. If you don't know what Alice in Wonderland is about, what are you doing with your life? Go change that. And yeah, basically the original one, I just look at it and I think, how many drugs did you take before animating this? It's a bit, it's completely wild. But I love it. It's like such a big fantasy one. I've read the book, I've got the colouring book, like everything's perfect about it. So yes. Moving on to the last, I promise this is the last one that I have a Simpson for, and it is Lilo and Stitch. So if you don't know who this little guy is, he's Stitchy. Basically Stitch is an experiment. He's from like aliens in outer space, and he's a bit mischievous to say the least, so they exile him to Earth and he ends up in Hawaii, where a little girl called Lilo finds him and thinks he's a dog. So her and her sister adopt him from the dog petting agency thing, and he is just an absolute menace. He causes so much chaos because he's not a dog and he's just completely wild, but she teaches him that like family is everything, And the big problem is that because Lilo and her older sister are orphans, the social security person comes around to check on them, and Stitch makes that very difficult for Lilo's older sister, and they end up almost losing each other, and it's very dramatic. Like, if you haven't watched Lilo and Stitch and you haven't seen, like, Ohana means family and family means nobody gets left behind, then again, what are you doing? You need to sort that out. It's just beautiful. I know loads of people don't like Lilo and Stitch, and I didn't watch it till I was 20, which in my mind is like a crime. But as soon as I watched it, I was like, oh my god, I'm in love. I love it. I can't deal. So yes, number 8 is Beauty and the Beast. So this is the other like traditional princess movie that I was talking about the other day, and I was really annoyed because it's not on Netflix, it's not on Sky Movies. Like, I actually had to like borrow the film off my mum, and if she didn't have it, I would have actually had to buy it, which seems a bit mad. But Beauty and the Beast is the classic story of like Belle, obviously meaning beauty, a natural beauty, who's also a bookworm and also a klutz, manages to, her father basically is taken into the castle by the Beast, and she offers herself up instead. Her and the Beast fall in love, and then the Beast turns into a prince. And I think this is actually quite a bad one for like making young women think that they can like change beasts into men, because there are some massive dicks out there, and they're always going to be beasts. What can I say? There's like loads of, like, especially if you go onto Tumblr, which I'm not advising because Tumblr is kind of like a cesspit of like the bottom of like everybody's minds. But if you go onto Tumblr, you will, and look it up, there will be like a minefield of stuff on that. So anyway, number 9 is a Christmas movie, and I couldn't resist putting a second Christmas movie in my top 10, so my bad. But it is Muppet Christmas Carol. If there's one film that I'm definitely going to watch at Christmas, it's always going to be this one. Basically, all the Muppets are in, take part in Dickens' Christmas Carol, and it's just so beautiful. They sing, they're all their little like, and like Gonzo is Charles Dickens, and he's narrating it as we go through, and we have little Tiny Tim and everything. And this is probably, I don't think I've actually watched A Christmas Carol without it being Muppets, because there's no point. And it's got the most beautiful songs in it. And yeah, if there's anything that, like, you know when you're doing Christmas wrapping and you can't not put a Christmas movie or Christmas music on, this is what I go for, because it's just beautiful. That's it. And number 10 is Hercules. This is probably, I think there are lots of like Disney movies about male characters. I don't know, who knows. But Hercules is again one that now I can literally recite the entire film because I've watched it so many times, and that aggravates everybody. But especially the songs. This was like, my best memory from Hercules was we got to watch it in our Latin lessons at school, because I went to a grammar school. If, like, you know, on the last day of term, and we were like, and our teacher was like, you can watch Hercules, it's educational, so, you know, get to learn about Zeus and all the others that I can't remember now, which is really bad. But yeah, Hercules, it just has the best songs. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, Zero to Hero, I love Meg, she's so like sassy, and like, I don't need a man to save me, I have rejected men, I have learnt my lesson. And also the little like muses, are they, no they're not, you know the little women off the vase that sing, they're so good. And the little fat one, I love her, she's always like falling off. Yeah, this was like my most rambly video ever. But there are my top 10 Disney movies, so to recap, in case you got lost in the ramble: Nightmare Before Christmas, Up, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Big Hero 6, Alice in Wonderland, Lilo and Stitch, Beauty and the Beast, A Muppet Christmas Carol, and Hercules. So please let me know what your favourite is, or like if you can't choose a favourite like I couldn't, I could barely even choose 10. Just leave me a list, because I really want to know what other people have as their favourites. And as always, if you like this video and managed to sit through this entire ramble, then you deserve a little gold star, for starters. But also, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thank you guys. Bye.